Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Hello. Tell us where you're from. Let us know your city, your state, and today definitely let us know your favorite aquatic Instagram accounts. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, April 8th. I'm a little bit blurry right now because I'm in big screen. I realized with the last couple sessions, I was just this little square up above the chat box, and that's why it was so hard for everyone to follow the chat box. So today I'm going to make sure that I am big screen until our presenter comes in later. So welcome, everyone. If you're just joining us, pop your name in the chat box. Let us know some of your favorite aquatic Instagram accounts. We've got Andrea from Virginia. Good morning, Andrea. And yes, if I appear a little blurry to you, it's because I'm quite large, but I thought rather than have me be this teeny tiny little box, that doesn't help you either looking at the same screen. So good morning, everyone. Susan's here from St. Augustine, Florida. Probably warmer than it is today. Today we have some sunshine, but it looks like it's about 0 Celsius, 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. Let us know where you're from. I'm going to share a couple other things I've got with me this morning. Ingrid's here from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Welcome. You've been here quite a bit. I see Kathy from Blair, Wisconsin. Welcome, Kathy. Probably also still cold in Wisconsin, I would imagine. Erin's here from Kawartha Lakes, Aquatics Tribe. Thank you. And then my account. That's wonderful. I appreciate that. Any accounts that you guys like to follow on Instagram, let's pop those in the chat box. We're going to make a nice long list today of different accounts. Castle Gar's here, North Texas. So I thought I would share with you guys some more of my teaching resources. USA Swimming, that's a good one actually to add. I don't think I follow USA Swimming. So a couple other teaching resources I thought I would share today just to spend a little time this morning. So the first one I've got this morning, these are called Rory's Story Cubes. And I apologize, the glare, it's going to be hard to see. Rory's Story Cubes. Morning, Marcy and Leah. So these cubes I bought at Walmart. I've seen them also on Amazon. I will link to them in the show notes. So these are basically dice, but these are different kinds of dice. So instead of your traditional dice, traditional gaming dice, right? We can use these for our in-service or our staff activities by perhaps doing fitness items, having staff roll the number of dice to figure out how many lengths of the pool they're swimming, how many jumping jacks, how many burpees, how many CPR sessions. You can use these dice as well for, a task list. If you set out a task list for your staff, 1 to 6 in order, and they don't necessarily want to do any of the items that you've listed, you can certainly use the dice in different activities. But I wanted to show you these story dice. These story dice are a little bit different. Good morning, Shanna from Sioux Falls. So these story dice have all kinds of different images. So this is a fountain, this is a key, this is a unhappy face, question, good morning, Shandy, tent, right? So this set comes with 9 different die. They all have different pictures. I think that's a beetle, an Egyptian beetle, spyglass, turtle. So you could do a couple of different things. These are called Rory's Story Cubes. Sorry, the glare is not going to be great. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Rory's Story Cubes. I will put these in the show notes. These are great because you can do these like ad libs or mad libs. So if you've ever done, let's say you're doing a round circle and I'm sitting with different people, I roll the dice and we continue the story around the circle. So perhaps the first one I roll is the turtle. So I start off the story with, I had a turtle named Frank. Then the next person rolls the dice. And let's say they get a clock. And so this can be a good team building activity to build a story. I've also done this as an icebreaker where individuals, they basically just share whatever comes to mind with the image that they're given. So for example, if I rolled the light bulb right now, I would tell you about these odd lamps. My husband just bought these solar Edison light bulb things. And so if I was in a group doing an icebreaker, I would talk about these. They're not material to me as a person, but I do like when people share different types of information about themselves in icebreakers. I find some leadership instructors and some swimming instructors, in an effort to build a group bond, they're overly focused on sharing personal information. They want really deep information from participants. And I know for me as an introvert, that's not something I'm comfortable with. So that's not something I expect of my students. So these story cubes can be really great. You can use them a couple of different ways. I believe these were $10 or $12 from Walmart. I will link to them in Amazon, and I use them in different leadership activities. It does also come with actual games that are designed. So this is the name of the product, Rory's Story Cubes, and they have several suggested ideas for how to use them. Good morning. We've got Brianna from Coronado, California. Shandy's here from Canmore. So dice are really, really easy. The other dice I'll show you. This is another set of dice. So if you go to Walmart or Toys R Us or any game store, really, there's a lot of different types of dice. So this set of dice I got recently, I think I got them in November. I was doing an in-service for the town of Hawkesbury, which was Kim Maurice, who was here 2 weeks ago as a panelist. She had asked me to do an in-service for her staff. And I went to the Walmart near her town and got these dice. I just kind of walked down the aisles to see what they had. So these dice are actually perfect during the coronavirus. This is made by Think Fun. I believe these were also $15. These are basically yoga dice for kids. So here you can see this is butterfly. Here you can see this is downward dog. Here you can see this is bow, right? So kids could throw the dice and create they could create a workout for their kids, or you could have the kids participate in the family workout during the coronavirus. Okay, we're going to do a one-armed plank. So these are basically fitness dice with different yoga pose. Good morning, Evan from Arlington, Elizabeth from Virginia, Cheryl Ann from High River. She's saying she knows very little about Instagram. That's okay. So Paul today is going to give us an orientation to Instagram. For me and my business has been really, really great. I really, really love it. Initially, I was very reticent to use Instagram. I started my Instagram account for my business, Lakeview, almost 3 years ago in July. And I only did it after I watched a friend from high school. She has a cheese store in Regina, and she'd had a lot of success with Instagram. And I think the interesting thing about Instagram, I hope you see today, Cheryl Ann, is that Instagram is, in my opinion, no longer about the perfectionism of Pinterest, Vogue magazine, Architectural Digest. It's become more authentic and more interesting. So certainly there are people who post only the most perfect photos on Instagram and only, the best shot out of 100. But for me and the way I use it, as well as I would say for Paul and the way he uses it for Farmers Branch Aquatic Center, it's very much about authenticity and connection. And certainly I think it can be really valuable. So if you have any Instagram accounts, pop those in the chat. I was just sharing a couple different resources. So Rory's Story Cubes. Rory's Story Cubes. Those were the dice that I showed you that have different objects on them, and you can do different activities with them. Then I was showing you, these are dice by Think Fun. These are yoga dice. So you can do kind of a different workout. I've done this even as an energizer. So let's say I'm teaching a lifeguarding class for 8 hours today. It's 3 hours in, they need a break. And it's not just a bio break like bathroom and water, but we also need an energizer. So literally I'll make the guys in my class or the students, they'll throw down a dice. Each student throws down a dice, and for 30 seconds, we'll do that pose. So Dory is saying, our city doesn't let us do Instagram. I'm working on a way to convince them it's okay. They're caught in the Facebook trap. So Dory, can you let us know what you mean by Facebook trap? Is that where like the community uses it for ranting and raving and it's a lot of work? Or is it that there's a Facebook page for the whole municipality or the whole organization and not dedicated to Facebook? Let us know what that trap is. understand the frustration with Instagram from a municipal perspective. A lot of municipalities, the communication department, or even a big organization like a university or a parks organization, they don't see the value in Instagram. They see it as a liability. And hopefully today we can ask Paul at the end of his session, if he doesn't cover it, to give us some strategies for how he was able to approach his town and say, you know, we need to do this. So City of Mississauga has an Instagram account. Perfect. We've got Byron, Alyssa from Byron. I think that's Illinois. Illinois, IL. Couple other teaching things I wanted to show you. So I showed you guys regular dice, super easy to get at the dollar store, great resource. Other thing I'll mention, I'm sure most of you have thought about this, using this in your staff training. So you can also use Uno, same idea as the playing cards I mentioned the other day. You have different colors, different suits, different numbers. You can use it for a sequence game. You can use it for station numbers. You can use Uno for lots of different ways in your staff in services, in your leadership. So if you're teaching first aid to staff, if you're doing a recertification, just, you know, a $6 or $7 item you can have in your office, you can have in your resource bag. Really easy. If you Google ways to play Uno that are not traditional Uno, tons of ways to use these cards. If you're using it on a pool deck, I would recommend investing the time and double laminating. So these cards obviously come with a kind of a veneer. And oh, I guess this is a new one. I haven't even opened this one. So they do come with a laminated edge, but I would recommend, if you have the time during the virus, you have an at-home laminator, or if you can bring your laminator home from work, to popping in the cards and laminating them again, just because they will get moist. So just to follow up on Dory's question, so there's a Facebook for city and for parks and recreation, but not the pool itself. Facebook has a limited market. Many of our younger generation, especially with young children, they are bigger on Instagram. Yes, so Dory, you've hit on a point that I'm sure Paul will mention, that there are different audiences. I was finding in my last municipal job, there was a surprising number of older people and seniors using Facebook, but certainly not Instagram. Stephanie's here from Casper, Wyoming. I'm just scrolling up. Alana from Brillion, Wisconsin. Welcome, Alana. Evan, thanks for sharing your Instagram account for your parks in Northern Virginia. Nova Parks. Hello, Megan from Calgary. So we're just sharing our locations and some Instagram accounts that we love in the chat box. I was just mentioning Uno, right? Uno cards can be great for our leadership classes. Something else I will mention. So many of you that have been in classes with me before, also Lego. Okay, so these are not, this is not equipment I've been using in my classes recently. I haven't been teaching since March 15th. And even that March 15th class, we didn't have Lego. We didn't do any equipment sharing. We were spaced out. We had our hand sanitizer. There was no passing of any sort of equipment. But when things get back to normal at some point in the future, whether that's 1 month from now or 6 months from now, Lego. So I have Lego in little bags. Certainly a couple people at the same table will share Lego and build something bigger. But I like to give people a variety of Lego, and it's things that they can fidget with or play with if they're an auditory learner. So for me, when our presenter, for example, today, Paul Macias, talks and I'm off screen, I like to listen. And I might be a bit of a fit, I might be writing notes, but I can listen better than I can visually watch. So Megan is saying we've used Facebook pages for our pools, but it was properly attended and comments weren't monitored or responded to, so customers weren't getting the information they need. So that can definitely be a challenge. You have to commit with social media to taking the time, whether it's once a day, once a week, once every 2 weeks. If you don't update it and you don't provide content, then people will not come back to it. Katie Short's here from Ottawa. Welcome. Jen's here from the suburb in the Chicagoland area. We have an agency Instagram. That's okay. If you have an Instagram account, please pop it in the chat box. I will update the show notes later with all of the accounts that you guys are mentioning. I will go ahead and put our show notes for today in the chat box because there are quite a few Instagram accounts that I've put on that page. I went through all of the accounts that I like to follow. Welcome, Ben from Waco, Texas with Baylor Rec. So this is the show notes for today. If you go ahead and open that up, you will see in the lower half of the page, I've collected a lot of the Instagram accounts, aquatic specifically, so not pool construction, not pool service, but just aquatics, what we do. So lifeguarding, swimming lessons, management. I've collected a lot from there. And you can start to look at some different accounts that you might choose to follow if you're wanting to learn more about Instagram and see what other people are doing. I'm sure Paul will talk about that, but how I learned to do my Instagram account at Lakeview Aquatic Consultants was very much based on watching what other people were doing, not so much in the aquatics industry, but even things like fashion or beauty or food or travel or celebrities that I like. If you follow someone, you can ask yourself, why do I follow them? What do I like content-wise that they give me? Do they give me sneak peeks into their life? Do they give me information that I didn't have? Do they give me coupons or discounts? Do they give me exclusive access to registration or discounts, right? So lots of different reasons people might use Instagram. Just want to scroll back up, make sure I've got everyone. So we've got Megan from Calgary, Emily from Fredericton, welcome, Sackville, New Brunswick. Hello, Stephanie. Alyssa's here from Troy, Michigan. So she's saying our Facebook has been very successful, but we struggle with Instagram because you're only open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So one of the interesting things I'm seeing recently, Alyssa, that I've seen some accounts doing for seasonal pools is they'll start in January, February, and March. They'll actually start posting maybe once every 2 weeks in the lead up to the summer season. So simple things such as staff that are permitting that their names be announced as returning staff, right? Or we're ordering our chemicals, or we're hiring our cleaning crew. Even though it might seem really boring, they do start posting once or twice a month to get the audience back and remind people why that account can be active. Other accounts we'll see that are listed in the show notes, accounts such as, who was the one I saw recently? There's a couple I've been following that they're starting to do that with their staff training and their startup. So we've got Devin from Northport, Florida, Carla from Anacortes, and every time I say that, Carla, is it Anacortes or Anacort? How do I say that? Can you phonetically let me know? Because I feel like I butcher it every time. Ben is here from Toronto. Rosanna from Brampton. Ashley's here from Farmers Branch. So Farmers Branch is going to be, Paul is here from Farmers Branch later to present. Gwen from Incline Village, Nevada, Portland, Texas. Hello, Sherry. Allison from Bartlett. Ray from San Diego. I'm just scrolling. Welcome, everyone. We've got San Diego. We've got another Katie from Clover, South Carolina. Anna Cortez. Okay, perfect. That's the phonetic spelling. Last thing I'll show you, we've got a few minutes before Paul will get started. We will start a few minutes after the hour. I'm expecting lots of people today. So if you're just joining us, pop your location, an Instagram account that you follow, whether it's your work, your organization, another pool in the area that you admire. Let us know which accounts you like to use. I'm going to show you one last thing that I brought teaching supply-wise. Many of you that have been staff with me or taken classes with me will recognize this. So bubble gum, okay? People love bubble gum. And certainly if somebody is keto or they have an allergy, they don't have to eat the bubble gum. But we use the bubble gum in class as a way to design a lesson plan. So if I'm teaching an instructor candidate, so a swimming instructor candidate, a lifeguard instructor candidate, a first aid instructor candidate, we all know about the basics of teaching, right? We need to develop a lesson plan. We need to break down skills into manageable small chunks. And that, for me, and many of my classes, starts with bubble gum. So I learned this from a lady named Lynn in a class I took about 7 years ago. This is her idea. This is not my idea. She had us write a lesson plan for blowing a bubble gum bubble. And so when you're dealing with new instructor candidates, this is a really great idea because many of them write on their piece of paper, chew gum, blow bubble. They forget the basic steps, as we all know from having taught: open the package of gum, buy the package of gum, unwrap the package of gum, put gum in mouth, chew gum until soft, form gum around tongue, blow on gum, right? So those micro progressions of developing a skill, when you start with something non-aquatics related, it really, really excites the kids into doing something a little bit different. So consider, I've also had students develop their own, so how to make a peanut butter sandwich, how to make scrambled eggs, right? Bubble gum is a really easy, fun, tactile way, costs, $2. Make sure they throw the gum out when they're done. Can be a fun way to teach. Good morning, Renee. If you're new here, those of you joining us, let us know where you're from, your favorite Instagram accounts. We will be starting a couple minutes after the hour. So welcome, everyone. I see Ashley from Austin. Brody's also from Austin. Evan follows Round Rock. I also follow Round Rock. Love Round Rock lifeguards. Rose is here from Mount Lake Terrace, Washington. Hello, Renee. Chandler Aquatics is a great account as well. Chandler Lifeguards. Pima County Aquatics, yes, I've also got that on the list. Dublin Aquatics. Welcome, Julie from Tillsonburg, Ontario. Jessica's here as well from Chandler. Melissa from Montrose, Colorado. So if you're new here, pop in your favorite Instagram accounts for aquatics. I will pin the show notes. I'll start pinning those. I put them in the chat box earlier. Those will have the slides that Paul's going to run through today, as well as my favorite Instagram accounts. I've taken those from the accounts that I follow, but I would love to pick up some other ones today. So let me pin these in the show notes. Yeah, any Instagram accounts, Renee. If you want to put your personal Instagram account, go for it. We're equal opportunity today. There's no wrong answer. I think one of the things we were discussing a few minutes ago is that Instagram it's personal in terms of what you want to follow. So myself, I don't follow a lot of celebrities. I don't follow a lot of, let's say, lifestyle brands. I like to follow real people, real brands that are authentic and honest. I'm not interested in the giveaways. I'm not interested in the 15,000 likes for the perfectly manicured, celebrity face. I'm interested in connection, authenticity, and that's different for everyone. Somebody else who's listening to me talk right now, they might prefer to follow celebrities. Somebody else might prefer to follow family members. Somebody else might prefer to follow their own staff, right? It just depends. So Jessica's here from Chandler, South Lake, Texas. Leslie's here from Michigan. Lifeguard Austin. Round Rock is amazing as well. So if you guys go to the show notes for today and scroll down, you'll see I've brought together a lot of different accounts that I love. And I know Paul will probably mention some of his favorites as well. And any questions that anybody has about Instagram, you can pop those in the chat box later when Paul's presenting, and I will write them down so we can address them at the end of the session as much as we're able. If Paul's not able to based on time, then I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not an expert on Instagram. I'm still learning, right? Instagram is always changing. There's also different aspects that we can't get into every aspect today. There's things such as Instagram stories versus IGTV, right? I'm using more and more on my stories in the last year and a half versus the first year and a half I was on Instagram. It was only posting, right? So different ways to use it. So Ashley's saying they're not allowed to post right now, but they do have Lifeguard Austin. Jody's here from Pima County. Jody, several of us follow Pima County aquatic staff, which is great. Maddie and Sean are here from San Luis Obispo. So welcome, everyone. We'll get started in a couple minutes. So just hang in there. I see Paul's here. We'll get started shortly. So let us know your favorite accounts, where you're from. If this is your first webinar, anything like that is helpful to us. Oh, there was one announcement I did want to make actually before we start in a minute or two. Many of you had asked about online certified pool operator training, whether I myself, Lakeview Aquatic Consultants, would be offering certified pool operator training online. So yes, we did make the decision that starting at the end of April, i.e. me, I'll start teaching CPO classes online. I do still recommend Tim at the Aquatic Council. He is also teaching classes. But those of you that have emailed me or messaged me about taking a class with me specifically, we will be starting classes at the end of April. So I will pop that in the chat box. If you're interested, please reach out to me. Go to our website. That is an option. It is accredited in Canada, and we're up to, I think, 105 countries around the world, so the USA. Welcome, Lori from Kansas. Joanna's here from Simcoe. Welcome, Cassandra from Sandra Lake. Show notes for today are pinned in the chat box. Jessica's here from Traps. So I do want to remind you guys, if you are interested in CEUs, so continuing education units for professional certifications that you hold, perhaps any diplomas, CEUs are available from the Texas Recreation and Parks Society. You do not need to be a member. You can pay a small fee if you'd like to get your CEUs from them. You can also look at getting a membership for 1 year. But I do want to remind you guys that there is a deadline for CEUs. It's not open-ended, so COVID might be a couple months, but the CEUs are only for about 2 weeks after these webinars end. So if you are looking for CEUs, please make sure that you are staying on top of that deadline. Kat's here from Virginia. Okay, so we're going to get started in a minute. I will introduce Paul. I'm going to do my brief introduction for myself. We're expecting quite a few people today, but I know it's one of those days where, you know, life just kind of happens. Hello. So I'll get you, Paul, to mute yourself temporarily just so we don't get any echo. So I'm looking for my Kleenex. And then we'll get started. So thank you to those of you that are joining us. My name is Katie Crysdale, and funny story, when I was watching the recording for Monday, which I'll pop in the chat box once Paul gets started, I can't multitask. There is no audience of support people here assisting me. I didn't realize that myself and Adrian were these tiny little boxes up on top of the chat box, and that we had wasted all of this screen to the fancy announcement. So I'm a little bit blurry, but I'm bigger this morning. And what happens when we do the Q&A at the end of today's session, you'll get smaller boxes, but you'll be able to see myself and Paul during the Q&A. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. It is currently Wednesday, April 8th, 2020. We're recording this during the COVID pandemic, where everybody is isolating at home, working from home, doing the best that they can to stay on top of their work, their life, their family, everything that's going on. So thank you for spending an hour with us. Today we're going to be talking about Instagram. So any questions that you have, please pop them in the chat box. Paul will attempt to address some of them at the end of his session as he has time. I will also be able to address them if he's not able to stay with us. Thank you to those of you who came on Monday. We had a great attendance. Thank you to those of you who are here today. So I'm going to introduce Paul Macias, and then I'll let him get started on his session. So Paul, if you don't know, Paul is from Farmers Branch Aquatic Center. I'll pop their link in the chat box, or Ashley, if you're ahead of me, you can do that. Paul Macias graduated from the Metropolitan State University of Denver with a bachelor's degree in U.S. history and a minor in recreation services. In spring 2016, he graduated from the University of Illinois with a master's in recreation, tourism, and management. He started his career in aquatics in 1998 in Colorado. He moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 2012. He is currently the Aquatics Manager at the city of Farmers Branch, Texas. If you're not familiar with Farmers Branch, they have a really, really cute, it's called the Frog Pond and the Frog Squad, and a whole theme that he'll talk about, but really one of my favorite accounts to follow. Even I was reviewing some photos yesterday in advance of this session, and Paul had a great photo of him on a tricycle, and I didn't even notice these little Hot Wheel cars to mimic the traffic jam that he's mentioning. So I want to give a big welcome to Paul Macias from Farmers Branch. Okay, so Paul, I'm unlocking you.
Hello, everyone. Everyone hear me? Good. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, so thank you for joining us today. I know this is a very unique situation. Hope everybody is staying safe. So as she had mentioned, I'm going to talk about our Instagram. I'm promoting aquatics on Instagram. So just to give you a background about myself. So like she said, I graduated with a U.S. history degree, and I got my master's in recreation. So I originally started off as a lifeguard in 1998. It was a summer job. I just took it because they offered it to me. They gave me a free lifeguarding class, so I said, why not? Then eventually it became a career. And throughout my career, I've been, like I said, started off as a head guard, worked my way up. I saw social media grow. Before, it used to be like this Facebook. It was just, we had events on there. Then everybody was on Facebook. Then Instagram came along, and it had more of what I like. I love photos, which I'm going to go over into. So throughout this process, I've been studying, looking at Instagram and trying to tell a story. So what I'm going to go over today is our story, but this is my background. When I was in high school, I liked to be front and center of everything. I was extremely outgoing. As I gotten older, I like to be behind the screen now. So that's why I did not put a photo of myself. So this is our frog, our grandpa frog. So for those who don't know, the Farmers Branch Aquatic Center, it was redone in 2015. We had a frog slide, and the community loved it so much that when we were building it, they kept asking about the frog. Are you going to have the frog? Are you going to keep the frog slide? So when they built the facility, they named the outdoor facility the Frog Pond, and they created our logo, which you see right here. So we have our own logo. The Farmers Ranch Aquatic Center incorporated our tree, and also with the frog. Now, with the frog, they created a frog family. So right here you see, that's our grandpa frog. So we have grandma, grandpa, and mom, dad, and 3 kids. So throughout this, if you follow our Instagram, you'll see some of the frogs in there. So they went to the citizens and they named the dad. His name is Tad, which stands for Totally Awesome Dude. He was the only character that is named. The baby, we have a stuffed animal with a baby. He's unofficially called TJ, which stands for Ted Jr. So that is our story of our facility and how we got the logo and why we're named the Frog Pond for our outdoor pool. Okay, like I said, I love photos. And one of the things that Instagram does is a picture is worth 1,000 words. So everybody should know where this photo came from. Know what this photo is. What you may not know is this is the second time that these soldiers were putting up this flag, and they liked it so much that they used it for marketing for the war, for war bonds. So it was when you look back at it, you could say it was staged, a staged photo, but it told a story. People loved it, and they were able to sell war bonds with that. Other things that you see in Instagram. So we always want to be, I'm going to be Instagram famous. You hear people say that, or I'm going to be trending. I'm going to go viral. Okay. So another photo is you see, this is after World War II. You have these soldiers where they're kissing, the soldier grabbed a lady and just randomly kissed her. Okay. Famous photo. It's sold. Copies are sold everywhere. But after the soldier had walked away and they never got his name, the soldier in that photo never got credit. Some guys did come forward and say it was me, but it was never proven. So a picture is worth 1,000 words, but it may not make you famous. So what you want to do is you want to tell your story about your facility. And what else can a picture do? A picture can bring everyone together for one moment. So this photo is from the 1980 Olympics. This is a moment in time where the USA team beat the Russian team, who was a powerhouse. But these college kids beat these professional Russians, and it brought us joy. And this is after they won the semifinal game. you see this photo that was taken, and it's captured by a Sports Illustrated photographer. And this still resonates with people. When you see this photo, you think of happy thoughts. You go back to when this event brought people together. So the picture can bring everyone together for one moment. So you want to think about that when you are posting your photos. So I'll tell you a little bit more about our story. So in 2017, we were very short-staffed. I'm sorry, 2016 was my first summer there. I was brought on as aquatic supervisor. I was hired in June, so nothing like starting your new job in the beginning of summer. Throughout that summer, we were very short-staffed. We had to close down some amenities. Our slides were closed. We were barely running the bare minimum. Programs were being affected. So at the end of 2016, I said, I do not want that to happen again. What can we do to stop this? So I asked for the Instagram account, the password, then I kind of took over by posting it. I wanted to tell a story, tell us why we are unique, what's different about us. So like I said, our facility is called the Frog Pond. Internally, we call our staff the Frog Squad, and this is the logo right here that was created for them. We were looking, like I said, I was looking at a different campaign. I wanted to go out to schools and get those kids who have no swimming background to work for us. I wanted to get those kids who couldn't swim, but we taught them how to swim in our lifeguarding class, and they would work for us. And how I wanted to tell it a different way, instead of just going to the swim team kids, say, hey, do you want to become a lifeguard? I wanted to think outside the box. So I was telling our story. And so what I did was I was posting photos of our facility and how we do it, sitting on the lifeguard stand, the lobby area. Basically, any part of our facility, I would take a photo of it so they could be able to see. I was also showcasing the staff members there. So which led us to this past summer, we created a campaign, the Friends campaign. So for this recruiting tool this year, we're using Friends. And so we did a video shoot of them using the Friends, basically redoing the Friends opening scene. And I captured this photo and I put it, and this is all our hiring campaign that we have right now. Right now it's a little delayed because with the virus, but this is advertised a lot. And we also have the video that goes with it. So after 2016 and 2017, 18, and 19, we were no longer short staffed. We were actually 95% full. So we did not have to shut anything down. By us having full staff allowed us to have more programs, events, and that. So I said we had showcased our staff and our facility on that, and said these individuals right here in the photo were handpicked, and they were designed or handpicked to be in the video so we could be able to showcase them. Most of these kids that are right here have been with us either 3 or 4 years. So they were with us in the lean years, and they have been with us when we went to the fully staffed. So how did I do it? So I like I said, I got my bachelor's degree in U.S. history. I could love history. I could talk to you guys about that all the time. What you did not see is a marketing degree in my background. So what I did is I went and taught myself, and I have an iPhone, and I looked at all the apps. Like I said, I love photos and just looking at it. Photography to me is an art. So what I did was I just searched in the App Store type of photo or photo apps that they have. And here are some of the ones that I use that are very basic to very advanced. So the first one is Font Candy. I use this one. It allows you to write fonts over your photo. So you can pick a different type of fonts that you want. I have picked one and stuck with it. So it's standard throughout all my photos. That's one that I use is Font Candy. It's very cheap. I think they actually have a free version of that as well. The next one is PhotoLab. PhotoLab allows you to do different type of graphics with it. You could make people into cartoon characters. You could add superhero background. You could be able to change them. You could add colors to it. All you have to do is put your photo in there. You select what you want, and it automatically does it for you. And the good thing about this, the PhotoLab, it saves the photo to fit in your Instagram account, or if you have a Facebook, you'd be able to save it into there as well. So this allows you to use. Another one I use this for is all our holidays that we have. So we have Easter coming up. So it has great Easter backgrounds, and you can put your logo in there. You can put your staff photo, and it downloads it for you and does a really great job with that. And also it does it for 4th of July, Memorial Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve as well. Another one that I use is Layout. So if I'm trying to tell a story of swim lessons, for example, and I want to get more photos in there, I could do what's called a layout. So I typically do the 4x4 where I have 4 photos in it, but it allows you to do only 2. You could do 3. Yeah, you could do 5, or you can only also you could do 6. So this one is a good one. So you pick your photos and you put it in how you want to, and you could be able to adjust it as needed. Another one that I use is Boomerang. This is a quick video that records it for you, and it puts it in real short, records a quick video. So that does a really good job. What I do with that is if kids are going down our slides, I'll try to get a boomerang of them going down and be able to put music in the background with that. Or if, another one that I do it for is our dump bucket. If the water's coming down, I try to capture that moment of everybody getting splashed by it. A new one that I downloaded, but I have not had the chance to play with that much is Moments, but I do like it because it's able to capture a video and also a photography, different type of photos in there. So that's a really good one as well. I use iMovie to edit all my videos. So I'll give you an example. We have our ribbit reading. We have one of our staff members is reading a book right now to the kids online. So I record her. All my recordings are in landscape. So that's one of my recommendations for you is that you do it in landscape. But I'll do it in record it off my iPhone. I'll grab the videos that I want, and I can be able to edit it in iMovie. Which is really good, and it puts it together for you. Then you can even add your logo at the end. Like we have our videos always end with our logo at the end, which is just a photo. Another one that we had is we did a GoPro, and this year 2017, we gave it to our staff. They're allowed to wear it while they were going down the slide or going along the Lazy River. We also gave it to our summer camp that comes to our facility. They put it on, so we were able to capture video from that and be able to use it in our marketing the following summer, which was 2018. So that did a really good job for them. Another one is that Apple released is the bottom one. I have not had a chance to play with that, but that one looks really good. It's cheap and easy to use. It helps with your photos as well. So these are just some basic ones that I use. If you actually look at the App Store, you can find more videos. More video apps or photography apps that are there. These are ones that I just used that I use right now. Okay, one of the things that I want to do with and let you guys know what we do is you want to tell your story about your facility. I put this up here: be strong, be beautiful, and also be you. Now, one of the things I try to follow a lot of Parks and Rec Instagram accounts just to see how they're doing. One of my pet peeves when I see that is that they don't edit their photos. So yes, our iPhone camera can take amazing photos, but in Instagram, you can also edit your photos. So you want to make sure that you're doing a good job. You want to go there. If you want to play around with it, you could do a black and white background. You could also do different type of filters on the background, but it's really important that you edit your photos so they really stand out into them. You want to make them clear and that you showcase the color in the background. Now, one thing with aquatics, especially indoors, when you're doing a video, you're going to have the background noise of the HVAC or just your indoor facility in general. So when you're doing it outside, it's better to do it outside. But if you are doing it inside, just be aware that you're going to have that background noise in there. So I'd recommend that you do videos outside. Also, be aware we have radio that plays in our background. So just be aware that you may have copyright issues with that. Another pet peeve that I have is facilities who do not use their own photos, that they pull stock photos. So we want to tell our story about our facility. So if I'm posting something completely different and they see that and they come to our facility, we're not telling the truth. We're not being honest. So only use your photos. Like I said, go around, create a catalog of photos throughout the day. So during the summer, I know it's super busy for us, but I try to go out and at least take 1 or 2 photos that I have that I keep on my phone and be able to use. I am in the process of downloading them to our OneDrive, so everybody has access to those. Like I said, but each day, go out there, take a quick photo. We always have our phone on us, so it's a good time. Just walk out. If you see something, you can take a photo of it. You could be able to use it for your story, or you could put it on your feed. Okay. Another thing that could be becoming more popular right now is stories. You could be able to do polls there, ask questions. So I would recommend trying to post your story. Now with story, it is only there for 24 hours. So do know if you are doing a question, make sure that you check it beforehand, or go to your phone and save the answers to your phone before it deletes. So this is good interaction. We are actually getting more interaction with stories right now than we are on our feed. The stories are another way to tell your story about your facility and what you're looking to do. So look at stories. You can do polls. You can ask questions, responses. It has some good, and you can be able to also add emojis in the background. Now, I put honesty here. Now, people are going to write comments down, so we allow comments on all our feeds. So you may have someone who posts a negative comment. You just want to be honest with them. Make sure that you're responding to them. Okay, you don't want to leave any response. Don't leave any comment unresponded. Okay, just be honest. If you make a mistake, own up to that mistake. So you want to be able to answer them correctly and give correct information. Okay, response. Like I said, make sure you're responding. You also have DMs. You could set it up where it could be an auto response. So just make sure that you're going in there and also checking that. One thing that I am learning during the shutdown is to turn off your phone. Okay. During our summer peak hours, I will get a lot of notifications around midnight and 1 a.m. People asking about when do we open, or just general questions about our facility. Okay. This is our time to be away. We're not at work. So I'd recommend turning your phone off. You could put it on silent. You could turn off your notifications, but you do want to let the public know that you're not connected to your phone 24/7, that we also have priorities and a life outside work. So my recommendation is turn off your phone. That's one thing I have been doing since we've been shut down due to the virus, is I'm stepping away a little bit more instead of being on it all the time. Okay, now, like I said, Social media and Instagram is sometimes spur of the moment, but you do want to plan ahead. So organizing your social media calendar. In my office, I used to have a calendar that was on my board. I would write down what I want to post. I would lay it out. What do I want to highlight? So a couple things that we went through is what type of programs do I want to highlight? Do I have swim lessons that are coming up? Is swim lesson registration coming up? Do I have new fitness classes that I'm trying to promote? Is my water aerobics class doing lower at this time? Maybe I should highlight that. So on your calendar, write down what you want to highlight. So like I said, if you want to highlight certain programs, make sure you write that down. Staffing, I always try to have our staff be involved. So I will highlight them a lot. For example, we are doing a senior shout out. One of my staff members will be highlighted tomorrow. So we're highlighting those seniors that are graduating, but may miss their actual graduation ceremony. So we're highlighting staff. We include them. Staff's included on this. They have their photo taken. We highlight accomplishments that they did. One of the things that we did is I have a head guard who wants to become a nurse. So I did, I recorded her and why she wants to become a nurse and what she thinks about it and what she wants to do after nursing school. Especially right now, we have the virus and you see a lot of nurses are being applauded as they should be. So just letting know our community that one of our head guards is going to become a nurse. Plus, it opens the door and opens communication between our guests and our staff members. So they be able to communicate. A lot of them will come in and say, hey, I saw you on Instagram. And they have that open dialogue. Okay, another thing you want to highlight, do you have special events that are coming up that you do throughout the year? So we have year-round special events that we do in our outdoor complex and also our indoor. So right now we had to cancel all our indoor, but as soon as we are able to open, the first thing that we'll be highlighting is our special events in June and also in July, or based on our summer events. So that will be done by story and also on the feed. Another thing we do is the day-to-day life that you see. So I post, we got a new drinking fountain, so I post that on there. Also, what it's like to come into our facility, what they see. We have windows. I have staff members that draw photos and artwork on the windows for me. So I highlight that for them. This day-to-day life, I'll take a photo of my desk. If I'm giving a presentation, I'll showcase that. Or if we're going out on a conference, what we're doing as well. So just day-to-day activities. Like I said, that goes back to what I was talking about when you're walking your facility. You want to take a photo and you can be able to highlight your day-to-day on there. Something that worked very well with us from the get-go when we first started is we started doing contests. So I would ask a couple of questions that I would ask. How many gallons is our lazy river? The person that answers correctly will win a prize. So we were able to give away beach towels, swim goggles, swim caps, umbrellas, water bottles, Yeti cups that I got from other city departments. So our city does a really good job. Our marketing will buy a lot of stuff and they do hand us swag. Our HR department has a lot of swag as well. So at the end of the year, I'll ask them if they want to get rid of stuff and they'll give it to me. Then I'll do a social media contest. I said a couple that we did is how many gallons each pool have. How many speakers do we have in our facility? How many lockers? How many lounge chairs? How many banners? So any question I could think of, I would post it on there. So, and like I said, we got a lot of good interaction. People would guess even after it was announced that someone won, which kind of leads me into the next one. You want to have community involvement. So we take pride in our facility and our city, and so that is reflected in our Instagram account. I want to make sure that the citizens are proud of what they see and what they're coming into. So we highlight if a citizen did something, we highlight that, highlight him or her. We ask them questions. I like feedback, want their involvement. Our indoor is heavily used by our senior citizens. So if they have a big involvement, for example, we had one citizen who lost over 100 pounds. So we shared that information or her story on our Facebook. So you want to highlight what people do. They're coming to our facility to lose weight, but also they're coming here to have fun as well. Other ways you could get on the calendar is if you have other city departments with Instagram accounts, you may want to highlight them. So we have a city Instagram account. We have another department in our department who has their own Instagram account or Facebook. So I am sharing their information, posting their information on ours. So we cross promote, which is really good. Oh, I forgot to mention, in one of the apps, they have a repost app that you may want to look at. So you can repost someone else's Instagram account, which I do for our other city accounts. So cross promotion is huge with me and our city. So we want to highlight our programs that we have, not only at our aquatic center, but at the rec center, at the Branch Connection, which is our senior center, or our special events that we have. A couple of campaigns that we did or that you guys could use. The first one is Not All Heroes Wear Capes. So as we know, lifeguards are their first responders are going to be out there. So we need to make that information available to the public. So showing them doing CPR training. I showed a video of a lifeguarding class that one of our future employers did, and her mom sent me an email. She did not realize that they went through all that training and that she was proud of her daughter and that she was happy that she was working with us because we took our training seriously. So just showcasing your lifeguarding classes, your in-service, them doing CPR. So I know seeing a lot of campaigns right now is land CPR or land stuff. So that's one that you could do is teaching CPR through a video, first aid as well, and just showcasing your staff, like I talked about earlier. If you have staff who want to become police officers, firefighters, or nurses, you can highlight them as well. Another campaign that I like is I'm Not Crying, You're Crying. So this is where I try to find the awesome story that just tugs at your heart, tugs at your emotion. So one of my favorite events that we do at our water park in the summer was TJ's Tiny Triathlon. A mom recorded a video of her daughter doing her first triathlon. It was an awesome video, and we're going to start sharing that. But it highlights that information there. Another one that we do is Elf on the Shelf during the winter months. So I went out and bought an elf from Target or Walmart, I can't remember, but it is showcased throughout our facility after Thanksgiving. He is doing different types of things. For example, he TP'd our tree in our lobby area. He's answering phones. He's taking chemicals. He's swimming laps. So you can highlight him with your facility. So that's one thing is kids like that to see that. Also parents do as well. Vacations. So I said me and my wife like to travel a lot. So we went to Paris. We went to Amsterdam. I go back home to Colorado to visit my family. I'll take our mascot, the TJ's Tiny Tri. I'll take him with me. TJ with me on vacation. I'll take photos with him in the background. So one example that I did is I took him to the Eiffel Tower and he was showcased there on vacation. He was on an airplane with me. So just showcasing them. We also did, with that campaign, we did a traveling Tad and traveling TJ. So we would give them a magnet and they could be able to take photos when they go outside on their own vacation. Another campaign that you could do is coming soon. If you know you're going to have a new program or a new special event, you could do like a teaser. So we did, we had bought Aquapole a couple years ago, and we were teasing that. So we wanted to get the momentum built up with that. New events that we're doing, new programs, we're doing a little teaser. So you could do the coming soon, or like think of it as a coming attractions. Okay. Other thing that you want to really focus on is your hashtags. So we have two that we use, hashtag FBH20, and the Frog Squad is the other one. So we are able to look at, if we do a campaign, I could be able to look at if I ask the guests to post a photo using this hashtag, I could go back and be able to see the interaction, the traction with that. So for example, right now, we're doing a virtual Easter egg hunt, and our hashtag is Easter in the Branch. So our marketing coordinator is tracking that. So you want to have if you have a hashtag for your facility, great. If you don't, make sure you come up with them. And you want to use that throughout all your posts. So if you look at our posts, you'll see hashtag FBH20 for all of them. Okay, now I needed staff to buy into this. Like I said, I am the one taking the photo. So made it part of our training, part of our facility. It is expected for those staff members, and they actually see it as a privilege. If they're asked to be on Instagram or on Facebook, take a photo, they see it as a privilege. And so how I built that up is, like I said, our mascot is the frogs. And like I said, our youngest one is TJ. So we would give away stuff, and we just called it TJ's Toy Box. So this is swag that we have to give away to staff. The biggest giveaway that they love is free t-shirts. So I always make sure that I have t-shirts in there, water bottles, any other type of swag that I get. So when I go to a conference, if I get something, I automatically put it in the TJ's Toy Box. So right now it's in a small cabinet, but we're looking to actually build a toy box for that. Other thing is your staff. Like I said, I grew up as a lifeguard. I started in '98. You develop friendships. They are working very closely with each other. So you want them to showcase their friendship. And when it comes to hiring, they are your best ambassador. So them posting on their Instagram or sharing your photo from their Instagram, it's going to attract more people. Oh, I want to work with my friend. This looks like an awesome place to work. Okay, we're showcasing what it is to be a lifeguard, but also it's a fun family environment. Another thing that we are as supervisors, we are role models for these kids. So we want to portray that in our posts that we do. So what you do, so you're helping them learn. So you'll see at the bottom, I put down family dinners. So one thing we did last summer is we bought peanut butter and jelly for them, and also bread. And I took a photo of everybody eating a peanut butter and jelly. So that was our family dinner. So it's a close-knit group, and it showcased that they're eating healthy, and also they have free lunch or free dinner there. Okay, now with everything, you're gonna have a business model. Okay, so this is what you want to look at while you're posting. So for example, that I have here, I have revenue and expense. So this could work with anything, any type of programs, your special events. So for example, we have our happy hour events coming up in the summer. So what is my revenue from that? I have admission sales, sponsorship, concessions, and merchandise sales. So that's where I get my revenue from. My expenses and my staff costs, facility costs, entertainment costs, and for this presentation, marketing costs. So am I going to advertise on Instagram? Am I going to advertise on Facebook, or am I just going to post without any advertisement? So when you're doing your programs or special events, you want to look at this business model. So if you post an ad, you want to make sure you include that in your marketing cost. Okay, some of marketing initiatives. So a couple terms that you'll hear is reach. This is number of times unique persons saw an ad or content. And the other one is impression, number of times an ad or content is displayed on the screen. And so you have those two initiatives that you want to look at. So if you're doing an ad, you want to make sure that you are getting your money's worth, either by reach, how far are you going to go out of your community, so you can set your parameters. If you only want to advertise, say 10 miles within your facility, but maybe you want to go out to 20 miles per hour. How much do you want to spend per day? We usually do about $50, or a total of $50 over a 2-week span. That's usually our average. So, but you may have more money that you can be able to use. Can you cross promote? Can you if you have a marketing department or tourism department, can they post it on their accounts, or can they pay for ads that are posted on your account? So it's one thing you want to look at, what type of initiatives you want to put across. So one thing that we did is we created our happy hour event. We had that. And so this photo on the left was taken. I grabbed 2 staff members, took a quick photo. This was our first advertisement that we used for the first 2 years, which grew into, I was able to have them create me a logo right here. So, but I was able to prove to them that I needed a logo, and that our program our special event was growing very quickly, and it was successful each year. And this started all from my photo that I used right here, which led into an actual creation of a logo. Like I said, your photo can start very small, but lead into something bigger. Does anyone have any questions or any comments?
Can you hear me? Let me just change. Sorry, I'm going to keep me. Let me get this up. Okay, so thank you so much, Paul. Like, a lot to digest. So those of you that have not done Instagram before, try not to be overwhelmed. I do want to circle back. There have been lots of questions for Paul in the chat box, so I'll address the ones I've seen so far, and then additional ones. Please pop those in the chat box. So not in any order, just in how I wrote them down. So I loved, Paul, that you shared the communication benefit with your clients or your guests and staff, right? So they recognize a staff member from Instagram. There was a question though, has that led to any negative or creepy experiences, or how do staff opt to be on Instagram? Do some ever say no? How does that go?
So I'm very, like I said, I grew up as a lifeguard. And so I'm very mindful of that. If staff does not want to be on there, I don't post them, but I don't let it get where it's out of hand, where someone's stalking them or anything like that. So like I said, I'm very mindful. I'm very protective of my staff. I personally don't have kids, so I have 2 fur babies, but the staff members are very important to me, so I consider them my kids and I look out for them. So
sure. Another question that came up was from Joey as well. So how many people in your office or department are actually creating and posting in live time or answering comments? Like, how do you decide what's the number you'd recommend, or what's too many to create content and actually post it?
So right now it's just me. I do that. Like I said, that is my baby that I did and grew up with. I will be giving it away eventually, or slowly giving it away. We work with our marketing department. We sit down with her about every quarter and we'll go over what we need. So that's either creation of flyers or content that we need to post out. But she usually does the marketing side, advertisement side for us. We'll do the photos if she creates the flyers, we'll post it out. But as of right now, it's just I only have another. It's based our full-time employees is myself and Ashley, so we only had 2 of us, and so that's at our facility. So that's what we have right now. But I was gonna say, if you're able to use more of your staff, please do use as much. So I would have, if you're gonna say you have a staff of 5, maybe have weekly meetings with them. Use that calendar that I talked about, so everybody knows what you're posting, so you don't post on top of each other.
So that leads to a good question. I swear I'm not only picking Joey's questions. I'll get all of them, but that does lead to the next question I saw, which I'm sure many people have. How do you decide the frequency after you've decided to map the content? Is it once a day post, once a day story? What have you found works for your audience?
So I do 1 post a day. I take Sunday. When we were open, when everything was normal, I take Sunday off. Like I said, that's my time to get away from it. But I usually do about once a day. Stories go about for 24 hours, so you got to realize that. It depends on the type of season. If I'm promoting hiring, I'm probably going to do more stories and more post on that. If it's a special event, then I'll try to advertise that more with stories and also feed. But usually I do about 1 post a day, except for I usually take Sunday off in normal time. But right now, since everything's we're doing a lot of virtual learning and virtual online, I'm posting every day.
What about, can you talk briefly about engaging with comments and DMs and tags? Right. So for those of you that were watching the chat box, I did put up, like, I've tagged Paul in a story right now about him presenting. I mean, by Paul, I mean Farmers Branch. Right. So that'll also, propagate. How do you respond to comments and tags? What's your philosophy?
So I'll look, if we're tagged in a photo, like I said, we get a lot of tags, especially on the weekends from our parties. So I'll go ahead and like it under the FBH2O account. So
everything that you get, you don't have any like format or anything?
No, I'll go in and look at it. Then, like I said, DMs, my DMs, the most of the time is, when do you open? How much does it cost? So that taught me, I went back and looked at my website. How can I get the information out more? And we have a high speaking Spanish community in our area. So they'll send questions in Spanish to me, and I'll be able to use Google Translate to answer the questions back to them.
How have you decided what not to post? Like you mentioned, like events and general information, but do you have any themes, or do you know what people don't want to see from your audience, or what it hasn't worked?
So I have had 1 post taken down. Our communication department, he basically told me, he goes, if you are hesitant about it, just shoot him an email. He'll say yes or no. And so if I question it myself, I'll usually send it to my communications director, and he'll say, yeah, go ahead, or no, don't do that.
How about developing that relationship? There was a lot of comments earlier about from facilities where their municipality or their facility is just not on board with Instagram. They see it as too informal. How did you develop that relationship, or what kind of pointers would you give people trying to do Instagram?
So I asked for the password and just kept posting. That's how I did it. I said, hey, I've done it before. Here's how I did. It's like, hey, I used to do it at my old job. I'd post every now and then. Can I have the passwords to help you out? I got the password, and I just kept posting every day until I was told not to. And I had not been. So
maybe a different. Sorry, go ahead.
To answer your question, yeah, not everybody has that luxury just to keep going. But I would honestly just sit down, look at it. It is ever changing. Like Facebook 10 years ago is different than what it used to be now. Look at your demographics in your city. I said one thing that Instagram does, it shows you who follows you, how old they are, where they live, what their zip code is. So it gives you good information there. So if you're a numbers person, that's great that you could use for that. Even like I said, right now TikTok is probably the hottest one going. So I downloaded that so I'd be able to use it, and I could save that video and post it on Instagram.
Yeah. Similar to that, are there any other analytic tools you use for Instagram? So there was a question like, how do you dive deep into, is it from paying for targeted Instagram posts, or what analytics do you find support proving that it works? And yes, I do have a Disney pen. I see the chat box. I'm really excited about that.
So what it could allow you to view, what you can look at is, like I said, the ages, male or female, what country they're in. Also, how many views you get and how many likes you get. So if you post a video, like I said, right now we're doing a lot of virtual. So we have our reading going on. I got more views on our Instagram video than I did on the YouTube. So that showed me I need to post more on Instagram instead of the YouTube. Right now, Instagram is more your demographic that you want, the 25 to about 35. It's going to be more female, and our facility is designed for ages 0 to 9. That's who we're going to target. Now, if your facility is different, you may have to look at using something different.
So you just use the Instagram analytics. There's no extra software you've paid for.
Our marketing department uses Google Analytics, but that's what she does. That's all hers.
Okay. There's been a question as well. So you do, building off of what you said, that the YouTube is not doing as well as the Instagram right now. Do you do the same content on Facebook, or how do you pick and choose? Like, does it circulate, start on Instagram today, go to Facebook next week? How does that work for you? Just briefly.
So I was mad because when I first started, we had our own Facebook account. And so we had a lot of likes. Then they merged our Facebook with the Parks and Rec department. So ours got thrown away. So our Parks and Rec department has all those followers. They just created a new one for us about a year ago, and we had to start brand new. So we're very low on that. I think I'm barely at 1,000 compared to when I was at like 6,000. So my right now is not very high. It's more during the summer. Like I said, we just started it last summer, so I'm trying to build it up to what it used to be. But like I said, our Instagram has been consistent throughout, so I see more traction there. But when I post right now, I'm posting on Instagram and because I'm trying to build up Facebook. When our Facebook was popular, I would do 3 times a week on Facebook.
There was a question in the chat about waivers. So how do you do it with customers or staff members? Is there any paperwork, or is it just consent verbally?
That's consent verbally when they come in our facility, and that is posted on our website and all our special events website.
Okay. There was also a question. I guess just anybody who's watching this, if you're using TikTok for aquatics, can you put yourself in the chat box? Because there seems to be a desire to see, like, I'm not doing TikTok. I don't know who to suggest you follow. If you're doing TikTok, can you put your account in the chat box, please? Also, sorry, please.
I would say with TikTok, you can actually search on who's doing what. So if you search by lifeguard, you'll see a lot of lifeguard staff that are bored at work and doing videos. So you'll see that. And honestly, another thing I try to do is I keep up with everything. And if I have an idea, I try to write it down. And like I said, I have a lot of crazy ideas in my head. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So another thing I would say is don't be afraid to try new things.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to echo what Paul was just saying about the ideas. That's where I got really stuck with Instagram when I first started, is I thought it had to be sequential and it had to be chronological. And exactly what Paul is describing, I'll keep a list in my my workbook about ideas of things I want to photograph or I might post. So if I have a day where I don't know what to post about, I'll go into my phone looking for a specific photo. Let's say I have 6,000 photos right now of pools. If I'm looking for signage because I want to talk about accessibility, I'll go in my phone and find a post that meets the topic I want to cover. right? So don't be afraid to create a list of ideas. So Paul's saying, okay, do a schedule of events, do a schedule of things you want to feature, such as recruiting, which I'll get to in a second for a question. Decide what you want to feature, then take some photos, but also don't be afraid to take extra photos all at once, whether it's like a photo day at work, and then have a stockpile of photos, and you can come back to them and you can recycle them. So I know I've used the same type of photo, let's say a cruise pool, cruise ship swimming pool. I was last on a cruise, let's say in January. I might reuse that pool 5 times this year, but spread over 12 months, nobody's going to notice, right? The same with your seasonal pool. You can do Throwback Thursday. You can do hey, we're missing you guys Monday. You can recycle content just with a different message or a different focus. A lot of people don't tend to notice we're consuming so much content daily. I want to talk briefly, Paul, you guys are doing great things in Farmers Branch with recruiting. So I really want to give you guys kudos. They do a Christmas card campaign with their staff. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we take a photo. We'll do, like this year we did a photo of us sitting on the friend's couch that was going around the nation. And so I bought staff that was in the photo, a nice t-shirt, and I had Naughty on it. And so we took that photo. It was done on iPhone. Then we had it created on, I think it was Shutterstock. Yeah, Shutterstock. Then we created a Christmas card with all the information, dates, hiring dates, training dates, when we're going to open, and we usually mail that to them. We'll mail that to them in early December. So most of these kids, this is their first job, and so they are getting a Christmas card, so which is kind of cool for them, and it lets them know that we're thinking about them. And we're putting the summer dates in their calendar and also in their mind to apply with us.
Yeah, I think that's such a great idea. There's lots of great things I would encourage you guys, if you don't follow Farmers Branch Aquatic Center, to have a look through their page. I also am a huge, huge fan of Elf on a Shelf. You guys did some bathtub safety. You did some AED sponsorship information. So much came out of that, I think. I hope for you guys. A couple other questions we had. The GoPro, did you guys have to argue to get that funded, or how are you able to justify that as an expense? I know a lot of facilities would love to have a GoPro. What else do you use it for?
So right now we kind of let it go. It's actually in my backpack. I need to pull it out more. But when we originally bought it, how we justified the expense was it was going to be used for training and also for Summer Sunshine kids. They did a color run with it, so they put it on the kids where they could run around with it.
It's waterproof, I'm assuming. Like you had to get a nicer one.
There's a case with it. We bought a case with it.
Okay. I know you mentioned not a fan of stock photos. I'm also not a fan of stock photos in terms of transparency and honesty. A bad photo, like a poorly quality photo, might be better than a stock photo. But what would you say to people who are like following this webinar wondering, okay, how do I start? It's COVID. I'm not at my pool. I have no content. What would you recommend just to get started so that there's something like there's, a grid to get to when the pool opens this summer?
So if you're not able to go to your facility and you want to start, do photos of yourself. Are you working at home? Your new office. Also keep in contact with your staff. Do you have seniors that are graduating? Can you highlight them? You could take a photo of your website. So there's other ways that you could post. So I would start off with your home, maybe your home office, your new coworker, what it's like working from home. Like you talked about earlier, I did a post of the traffic jam going to work. So I bought a tricycle and Hot Wheel cars. That was the traffic jam going. So like I said, have fun with it. You could do like something in the bathtub, water safety, sitting on your patio or sitting in your backyard. Like I said, show your new coworker. People love kids and people love dogs. If you show that, you'll get more likes.
Is there an easy way you split what goes on the post versus what goes on a story for your own facility?
So like I said, right now we have a campaign going. Like I said, we have our Easter egg campaign. Then we have the social walking. Then we're doing another campaign after that, the triathlon campaign. So that's kind of laid out for us. But like I said, during the summer or during our busy season, I'll write down a calendar of what I want to do. Like I said, and it looks, and honestly, if you go buy a calendar that has unique days, like peanut butter jelly day, margarita day, you could post about that. Like we had margarita day, so I posted a drink of alcohol at our facility to highlight our happy hour event.
So there's a great question from Kat from Virginia asking, how can you try and convince your communications department, or let's say it's your rec director, that stock photos are not the way to go? Because I've also had that manager that thinks stock photos are safer, even though they don't represent our community.
So I would tell them it's not, you're not being honest with your community, because if someone comes in there, they're going to see that. So like, oh, that's not true. If you show high quality photos to him or her and be able to replace those with that. Also, you have to pay for stock photos. If you have high quality photos, if you start to develop that photo catalog, it's going to save you money in the long run.
The other thing I'll add to that, Kat, I know for facilities I've worked at, you're going to have, you can set a time, whether it's before in-service or whether it's just the middle of a shift later when we get back in the pool. You can tell the guards, hey, you know, do your makeup, do your hair, make sure your uniform is pressed. We're going to take an hour's worth of photos and that we're just going to blitz it out and they're going to look really good, right? Like I would be lying if I said I'd come on this webinar with no makeup on, right? Like I get ready and you can take photos. They don't have to be awful photos. They don't have to be professional photos, but there can be something in the middle, right? So there's also some good, yeah, chat.
One thing actually we were going to do, like I said, we have our video crew that we hire out, our communication uses. So we were going to do a preseason party, invite all the former season pass and have them come out and film it. So I said, work with your, other thing you can do is work with your other departments, your communication, your tourism to come out, and high quality is probably what he wants. So if you had that from the go, you probably have to spend a little bit up front, but once you have it, you can be able to use it. Kids are going to be great. So if you have staff members who have kids, you could do a mock swim lesson and just have the kids be in there and you could take photos. We did that one year. Our summer funshine camp, we grabbed 10 kids. We had them be kids at our birthday party. They fed them cake. We decorated it for them the way we wanted it, and they took photos. So
yeah, I walked into a bakery about a month or two ago, and it was very clearly an Instagram photo shoot for everyone, from the influencer to the bakery. And so all of the food was free that day, right? They had made all this extra food to photograph it, so you could only take what they had already photographed. But it was, you know, it was mutually beneficial for everyone. The same way, if I was running a municipal facility, if I had, let's say there's a mom or a dad in town that stays home but does photography on the side for girlfriends, why not trade, you know, a 2-day session of photos for 2 or 3 sets of swimming lessons if you can get that approved, right? There's ways to be creative to get some photos. They don't have to be super, super fancy. They just have to be, you know, clean uniform, clean appearance. And I know certainly when I've had staff for in-service, I'll say, hey guys, we're doing staff photos, like actual portrait photos before next in-service. You won't have to get in until you've had your photo taken. But if you want to wear makeup, you got to come to in-service with your makeup and your hair done, right? There was also a good comment in the chat box about private Instagram pages. So those of you looking to do staff teams. So I believe, Paul, your staff, did you find they also follow the account, or do you have a separate staff only page?
So we only have a city. I know a couple, like Round Rock, a good example. They have a great one. They have for lifeguards. City of Chandler has one just for lifeguards. We decided not to do that. I wanted to highlight our entire facility, not just the lifeguards. So ours is our entire facility. If you're looking for lifeguards specific or like just staff specific, City of Hearst has one up here, except Round Rock and City of Chandler. They have great Instagram photo or accounts as well.
Yeah, there's been in the show notes. So those of you just joining us, the show notes, we have all the accounts that I like. I posted those in there. So there's also Pima County. There's also, Dublin. There's lots of different accounts you can look at. Rigby's aquatic team. If you're looking for calendars, lots of ways you can do your social media planning. If you have more questions for Paul, if you can pop those in the chat box, we're going to start to wrap up for him. I loved, Paul, that you mentioned how you take all the free stuff from conferences and meetings and suppliers and you put it in the toy box. I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about. So I'm the same way. I don't want any more free stuff unless it's really good, but I take everything and then I can do a raffle, in an in-service or in a course, or how do you give it away?
Yeah, so like I said, I grab it and I just put it in the TJ's toy box for them.
There was a question a while ago. Do you happen to know, Paul, was there a cost for PhotoLab? Was one of the apps you mentioned?
It's been so long. I think the most I've ever spent on an app is probably $4.99. Mm-hmm. So they're getting super cheap, and also there's a lot more out there. So if you could find the free version, please do. Other thing that I do pay for monthly is I can't think of the word. Storage unit on iPhone. I pay the 99 cents so I can have more storage on my phone. That's one thing I do.
Actually, I did think of something I would like to know. Do you post in live time, or are you figuring out the creator on the desktop for Instagram? Because I find it quite clunky.
So I'll take the photo, then I'll sit down and have to write it out what I want to do. So it's usually like the only thing that is spur of the moment is if we ever do Instagram Live or Facebook Live.
Do you do much live events? I haven't done Instagram Live or Facebook myself.
As of right now, no, we don't. We're heavily focusing on just the content and the feed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last call for questions. Anybody else who has questions, pop those in the chat box, please. I'll give a minute just because I see lots of people typing. Thank you so far, those of you who've joined us. Thank you, Paul, for your time. The PowerPoint slides, if you're looking for any of the apps that he mentioned, they are listed in PowerPoint slides on the show notes, which I've hyperlinked or pinned in the chat box. So basically, just to give you some inspiration, get started, make mistakes, do things, obviously don't do anything dramatic or dangerous or unlawful, but you're going to make mistakes, and some posts will do better than others. And if you're interested in learning more about Instagram, just start by following accounts that you like. There's been a bunch in the chat box. I will make sure the show notes are updated to reflect that. Find any account that you like, whether it's personal or professional, decide what you like about it, follow for a while and learn from them. Right? I've done a couple Instagram lives. They were not so successful. So I'm going to have to start following more lives to see, what works with them, what's good about them, what's enjoyable. Right? So I don't see any more questions. I'll just do some quick announcements and I'll let you go. So today is Wednesday, April 8th. We have had this session Friday, this upcoming Friday. It is Good Friday. So if you celebrate a holiday, you can look for a recording on Saturday, but Tim Auerhan will be here from Aquatic Council. So he will be talking about summer startup. And don't think that doesn't take into consideration the fact that we are aware that summer may not happen where you are, but this is a great opportunity to revisit your paperwork that you do to start up the season, whether it's this year or next year. So that registration link I've just popped in the chat box for Tim's session on Friday, if you would like to join us. On Monday, we will have Joey Rusnak. So if you are watching the chat box, Joey from Lifeguard Authority, the city of Mississauga, is where he works in Canada. He will be talking to us about motivating our staff team. So that will be on Monday. That link is going in the chat box now. And then next Wednesday, we have Ben Zimmerman from the not the City of Toronto, excuse me, ABC First Aid and Aquatics in Toronto. He's going to be talking about starting your side hustle, whether that's teaching outside of your pool or other places where you can be like a side gig or thinking about your own financial future if you're not sure when your facility will reopen and what that looks like this summer. So Ben started a very successful affiliate, which is what we call like a program delivery service in Canada, where he teaches a lot of dental offices, nursing, private homes, private schools, and he does that exclusively. So join us for any of those sessions. Other things to be aware of on the show notes page, we've got the directory. If you're interested in finding other professionals from these webinars, getting their contact information, the Google Drive link is there. The link for the certified pool operator courses I'm doing at the end of April is there as well. If you're interested, any other questions, you can email us, the TRAPS link for CEUs. I think that's it. I don't see any other questions. Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you, everyone, for spending a time with us. We'll see you on Friday if you're free. If not, we'll catch you on Monday after the holiday. Bye.
Bye, everyone.